What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It's me, your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington, here with the Season 1, Episode 4 review of DC Universe's Doom Patrol. If you haven't seen the episode yet, there will be spoilers. I know it sounds like I'm trying to hold laughter here, because it's like for 2 minutes before the shit actually starts. Me and Winston been sitting there going through a fucking thing. As you can see, Winston A. Marshall is back.
Hey, man. Look, essentially, this is how I treat this whole thing at this point. But episode 1 was just you doing Doom Patrol, right? The nigga Cyborg came in episode 2, and then he's just here. So as long as Cyborg's in the episode, I will probably be here. Your
What the whole fuck? Shit, man, professional. Free man, bitch. I'm gonna get to.
So this whole review is just gonna be us trying to keep a straight face
to get through the fucking review.
That's it.
So this episode started out going to Salt Lake City, Utah 17 years ago, which, by the way, Salt Lake is a dope city. I'm going back out there for Salt Lake Comic-Con. If any fans of Salt Lake, FanX, want to donate, you can do the Patreon. I'll tell you about that later. But we see a little boy having his birthday. And it's just, you notice there like tattoos on him. But I was like, okay, the kid just draws on himself, whatever.
I did it all the time.
I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, shorty just drawing himself.
Nigga, I would just smell the little smelly marker. And then
I was like, what the fuck? I thought Winston was like, I was just a kid doing cocaine.
No, them cherry markers, nigga. The cherry smell good.
Oh, man,
the watermelon smell good. The grape wasn't bad.
I'm sorry, perpetuating stereotype. But the grape smelled good. And then, like, the lemon was too rough to just sniff.
The lemon was harsh.
The lemon smelled like dishwashing liquid. Like, the fuck.
Lemon is only good as Skittles, Sour Patch Kids, and Sour Warheads.
And lemon heads, nigga.
Oh, lemon heads are good, yeah.
But yeah, we see the kid getting older, and then we get to his 18th birthday. And now we see the kid with a hoodie on, of sorts, his sleeves cut off. He got all these tattoos over him. And the parents wearing the hoodies as well. So I was like, I guess they just really love their child and let him just live his best life.
Pause, though. This kid has tattoos all over his body. That shit is mad expensive, dog. Like, this shit right here, Nick. They can't
even see what you did.
You can't even, it's like, I can't, it's on the, motherfucker, right here. You can see it here. That shit was like $300-something. So if you're gonna put some shit all over his body and this is just my forearm, that shit expensive, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, we're gonna get into the fact that it's a cult later, but like, this cult just got funds, nigga. You Batman, nigga.
What if you got a friend that just want to hook him up with little drizzly tats?
You know what? I bet one of the cult leaders is just a tattoo artist.
This nigga did a little time, you know what I'm saying? He was doing it with an old Clippers motor and a needle.
An old heroin needle and shit.
The sewing needle, Jesus. But anyway.
We told y'all, this is going to be a hard episode to get through because we've been laughing for a minute.
Get through this shit. I'm not stopping this tape at all. Oh, I just burned my eye. I don't know what I rubbed. Oh, fuck.
It's probably that spicy mayo from the poke, dog.
Oh, it hurts so bad. It hurts so fucking bad.
Do you need to take a break? You want?
No, we're going to continue.
So the 18-year-old kid has tattoos all over his body.
It's hot.
And all of a sudden, the mom is going to get the cake with the 18-year-old member of the dad says, run, nigga. Run for your little life. You're not here to save the world. You're here to die.
In the world. You're here to end the world. And while he telling his son that,
his mom came with the spicy mayo knife and slit his daddy throat.
Spicy mayo knife?
Like, you got your eye.
I'm good. But the mom slits his throat, right? So then we fast forward to the house. We see, the members of the Doom Patrol. Cyborg trying to tell them about different dimensions. There's 37 known ones. And they basically, Rita's like, look, why are you telling us this? Rita basically don't want to be a part of it.
No, you missed it. Because they're all sitting there and Rita's pissed. She's like, you're not going to fucking tell me that y'all having...
Oh, yeah, she was like, y'all ain't going to tell. Y'all just ain't going to tell. Y'all just ain't going to invite me? This is gonna, you were saying, I live in this house too. And he was like, well, we know where you stand. Like, we know where you stand. You don't want to be a part of it. So... basically, after that, there's a strange dude you see in a motel room at first. And he has an English accent, and he's reading from what seems to be an occult book. And the first thing I started thinking was like, is this going to be their version of John Constantine?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, look, You ain't bringing in Matty Ryan from off Legends. Don't you touch Constantine? That motherfucker.
I agree. You don't just leave that shit alone. And I thought, because I was like, he's a little fatter. Like, he's a little slovenly. Like, I mean, I know Constantine don't take care of himself, but the nigga got his standard trench coat and his suit, right? This dude had on, like, ratty scarves.
And his shirt be white. For a dude that just drink a lot, Constantine keep his shirt white. Like, he know how to use good laundry detergent.
but
Tide Pods.
Tide Pods. Tide Pods. What, fuck, but the one, what the Gronk shit? Tide Pods.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that you find out, I don't think they ever say his name, but we looked it up as Willoughby.
No, he does say his name, but you can barely hear his name. It's Willoughby Kipling.
Okay.
And so, I'm like, okay, cool. This is a different character. And he is in the DC Comics universe. He is in the Doom Patrol universe. And he is a master of the dark arts and the occult.
He's a chaos magician as well.
Right, and he says he's a member of the Knights Templar, and he has to, there's a boy they have to get because he's being targeted by these Our Lady of the Razor. They're nuns with razors in their hand, and them bitches is scary. And basically, he opens up a portal, but before the portal opens up, there's a church. I think it's in South America.
Well, it was in Spain, and here's the funny thing about this shit, man. So they're doing a baptism,
of a baby.
And
a
so
christening.
They put holy water on the baby's forehead when all of a sudden he realizes he's bleeding profusely from the hands. Now, when I tell you the funniest part of this episode by far is how fast that mother saw the blood on her baby, said, "Hey, Diablo," and took the fuck off, dog.
Let me tell you something. Black and Latin people, we do not play with the devil. She was like, "Hey, Diablo."
Like white people probably would have been like, "Oh, are you okay? You're bleeding on my child. Father, can I help you?" By that time, the devil would have ripped your throat out.
By that time, the devil done got your baby said, "Let me go, bitch."
She said, "Hey, Diablo," and took the fuck off, bro.
She Heismaned it with the baby, nigga. She was like
stiff-arming every clergyman trying to get the
baby out of here. And so, basically, that happens at the same time when Kipling is telling the Doom Patrol what's going on. And they're trying to justify magic because they don't understand how magic works. Of course, everything for them is science, except for Jane, which you really can't explain. And to an extent, even Negative Man is something you can't explain, which goes into that as well because you get the negative spirit keeps knocking out Larry Trainer, which, first of all, the negative spirit is an asshole. Let us please say this. The negative spirit is an asshole, but it's getting Larry Trainer to watch this video that he did with the chief to understand something. It keeps bringing him back to this, and we go through this several times in episode. But nonetheless, Kipling opens up a door, and Jane, Cliff, and Cyborg go through, and they pull out Elliot, the 18-year-old. And so this unprofessional motherfucker who didn't turn his phone on silent.
You know what?
No, just
that's fine.
No, but we'll keep going. But nonetheless, they pull him out, and he finds out that he's part of the cult of the unwritten book. And Kipling is basically like, "Yo, we just need to murder Shorty." Like, because if they catch him, the tattoos are the book. And if they read him, it'll bring forth the end of the world. And like Cyborg and all of them, like, we don't kill nobody. We'll just protect him.
Exactly.
And so basically he was like, okay, well, what else you need to do is you need to close these doors. And the doors are the stigmata on the priest's hands that's been glowing like shit. So Kipling basically sends him through a portal almost to get to the priest. And the priest is in the cabinet like, I don't want to. And Cliff is like, the fuck?
Well, and then, so what was interesting about this is that they need to sew his hands closed with the dental floss of Janis Joplin. Which, by the way, the one thing I love about Kipling, man, this nigga is like the chaos magic MacGyver.
Yes, he is.
He's like, oh, we got to figure out what we need to do. Let me chew this piece of gum. It says we need to go and close the portal, nigga. Oh, wait a minute. We need to figure... Oh, they summoned the ghost head. We forgot about the ghost horse head unicorn.
First of all, trying to figure out what the fuck happened. He's like, yeah, the oracle or something coming. All of a sudden, a fucking horse, blue horse,
a railroad spike for a unicorn horn,
is here singing, telling them what to do. Like, you need to find the boy. Get your life together.
Stop fucking them little children. You going to jail, Robert. Oh, that's a different show, isn't it? My bad. That's a different show.
It is. But they go through, and when they go through afterwards, freaking Jane and Cliff get transported to Nurnheim. Now, Nurnheim is this magical place that involves the cult and whatnot, and they looking like this is snow. And Jane's like, this isn't snow. Matter of fact, this isn't Jane. This is Penny something. Another personality that's coming out.
Not yet. It was Hammerhead at first. Penny came out.
When they got into Nurnheim.
Hold on, let me think about it.
Yeah, when they got in, she was...
Once she landed? Oh, you're right. I thought it was once they met the guard.
No, she's like, I'm sorry, Seth.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Seth. And so they get captured by these little troll guards, and they basically have to go see which are now considered the priestess of the cult of the Unwritten Book. And the priestess are both Elliot's mother and father. Now, if you remember what I said about the father earlier, he got his throat slit, right?
Guess whose throat is still slit, even though he's now ascended to an Archon level.
And he is hella dead, sitting there like this with his throat slit. So rest in peace to his throat.
Damn. You know what's sad as fuck? It's like you believe in something, whether it be actual religion, so Christianity, Judaism, all that kind of stuff, or a cult type religion. You would think that when you die, you're supposed to ascend to the next level, right?
With life.
Think ascend to more death.
More death.
Like, that sucks.
With a jester outfit on. Bet you ain't, the only smile is in your throat that bled out. But as they go, the priestess that is Elliot's mom is basically showing Cliff and Jane, one of her personalities, how they see each other. And find out that Cliff sees Jane like his daughter, and Jane sees him as a fucking monster.
Well, what I thought was interesting, this was probably the most interesting part of the entire episode, was this whole speech about, Cliff trying to say the reality of it is this, this, and this. And the Archon, this high priestess, says, no, it's the exact opposite. Reality is perception, period. You see yourself as, he said, flash back to Brendan Fraser as like actual Cliff, and Jane as her actual self. Then it's like, versus how the world sees you. So it's him as Robot Man. Jane saw herself as the
little girl.
No, not just that. It was all the fragments, the pieces of mirror. She saw herself as all the different personalities. Then how the world sees you. So Cliff back to robot form, her as like this damaged little girl, versus how you see each other, which was Cliff covered in blood.
Which also, I think if you pay attention, she says her real name.
She does.
She says little Kate.
Yes.
So for those who don't know, Crazy Jane is not the core personality. Jane is one of the 64. And so Kate is the little girl who was damaged to the point where it allowed all of her meta personalities to manifest. So, yeah.
Exactly. And so, and then the last part was but what are you actually?
And it's just a brain. Cliff's
just a brain. And Jane is literally just, again, a damaged girl that can't protect herself. She's hiding behind the wagon that got dragged in.
Which is how they say DID works. That's dissociated personality, something like that disorder. But it's called DID. I don't know exactly what it stands for. But
dissociative identity disorder.
Identity disorder. Look, that's why I keep this man around for better acronyms. You're Mensa?
Mm-hmm.
What's your IQ?
I don't remember. I took it when I was a kid, but I certified for it. And I just never.
You don't? Do you get like?
You're supposed to like pay dues and do all this other shit.
Do you get checks for it?
You're supposed to, but my parents are like, nah, he got the title, that's all we want, and then we didn't pay for nothing.
So you could have been living your life like it's golden off your Mensa?
I mean, but whatever. I just like to say it. That's enough. I don't need to.
What good are you if you Mensa and you ain't you? Anyway.
Nigga, I'm like Superman if he came down and realized he had powers and he's like, nah, I don't need to say nothing. Y'all good.
But one of the best things that happens in this episode afterwards, after Jane and Cliff are talking to the priestess, we cut back to now the house with the rest of the Doom Patrol is being attacked by the Our Lady of the Razor nuns and these called dry bachelors. Why are they dry bachelors? They are skin and letters, romance letters that never made.
Hold on, dead skin and unsent love letters.
Unsent love letters. They're dry.
And when they die, they explode and you can see
all the love letters.
Shitty writing shit on it.
But the best part about that scene is the fact that we get to see more of Cyborg being, he has the arm cannon now. And I like that because we slowly started to see him as just Vic Stone with just the eyepiece, the Chuck E. Cheese eyepiece, and the Andrew Dice Clay gloves. But now, he'll tell you something there. You know. But the thing is, now we see the arm cannon, which I was glad we saw because we'll start seeing the different iterations of what Cyborg can do. You know, we saw him doing a systems check earlier in the episode, and
he used an ionic grenade when he was overwhelmed by some of the guards. Yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff like that, and him even making mention of, I can't just sit here and shoot this arm cannon all day. I will literally drain all of my power. You know, so like him having to mix it up.
Has anybody explained to me how the Cyborg recharges? Does he plug himself up in the wall?
I thought he was solar.
Oh, so okay, so he's as long as he's in the sun, right? So what if you fight Cyborg at nothing but night?
Well, no, but he can also charge up, because if you remember watching Teen Titans, he has a charging station, but he can take in solar energy. So at night he does go and charge himself up if he didn't absorb enough energy. If he wasn't inside.
Okay, all right, that works. But yeah, so you see that happen. Also, you see that Nurnheim really is in a snow globe. It's in a snow globe there, and that is in the house.
They did some Men in Black 2 shit.
Yeah, it's already there. Oh, you talking about with the
locker inside of the train station,
okay.
And then we're inside the train station and shit.
Yeah, this is the we're inside the world. It's Inception. But then the kid Elliot gets kidnapped because, first of all, let's talk about Rita. So Rita is trying to help Elliot, right? They break these rosary beads that Kipling makes a spell over. He dips them in sriracha. White people shit. And listen, guys, gonna dip these beads in sriracha. It's gonna make a spell and it's gonna protect the shit out of you.
Can I say real quick? You know for a damn fact that Cyborg is a guest in that house and there wasn't no niggas living in there, because there would have been some goddamn Crystal or some Red Rooster in that bitch.
Frank's. I put that shit on everything.
You know I did a Frank's commercial?
This old.
It was a long time ago. It's for BuzzFeed.
You know I did a Pornhub commercial?
Yeah, that shit was hilarious. I watch that shit all the time before I watch my actual porn because it's funny.
That's really disturbing. Let me watch my nigga Jay before I beat off. Whoa! That was a part of his friendship.
I didn't think about what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. This was really disturbing.
This is awkward now.
It's hella awkward.
So they dip the beads in sriracha.
Yeah.
And you're checked out, right? So he dips rosary beads in sriracha. They end up stepping on one of them. And at one point, Elliot's like, I'm just going to kill myself. She goes, the fuck you will. Now you help me get these goddamn beads together.
You know, Rita, she emotes, get these beads. And so Kipling, after leaving Cyborg to be dealt with by the Dry Bachelors, he goes and takes his giant-ass magic sword and tries to kill Elliot. And Rita finally uses her ability a way that you know she uses in the comics. She's stretched out to prevent Kipling from hurting her. And then anyway, the nuns came through and cut the hole and they took the boy. And then they had him butt ass naked outside the house, which was really weird. It probably was cold.
Well, it was probably, could they really read the book? Because you know if it's cold outside, there's some shrinkage. So some of the tattoos probably shriveled in. So
Why would you assume his tattoos on the boy's dick? Out of all the things.
It's a fucking death cult. I'm sure they needed all of his body, all right? Like, I'm just making assumptions here that make logical sense, which that's probably why they were like, we need time, so we need to send more guards. Because not only his dick shrunk, but like, if you had to put it then on his balls, like that shit's wrinkled as well, so you have to stretch that out so you can read all the shit. I don't know what's wrong with me today.
The fuck? This is supposed to be a normal episode review, ladies and gentlemen. And now y'all getting all this extra shit. I blame him.
I mean, look, all I was going to say is it wasn't as... Finish, and then I will come back to this.
But
it's fine.
The ladies of the Razor, they read the book outside the house, and the glow happens, and the Sauron, look, what's the name of it exactly?
Decreator.
The Decreator, yes, excuse me, like Destructor, Detracted. The Decreator, his eye comes out. Now, first of all, you know it's going to be a white dude because it was a crystal blue eye.
No, it's the Night King from Game of Thrones. This is actually how Game of Thrones' final season starts.
With a white nigga in the sky?
With a white nigga.
I'm sorry, I did not mean that at
all. With the big old Mayo eye in the sky. I know you got white viewers. I couldn't help myself. Just the helmet's eye just opened up and was like, I'm here to put raisins in your potato salad. Like, that's what happened, dog.
So then Cliff, Rita, and Larry go outside and they just see like, oh shit. And it's our first two-parter of the season. So we're left on a cliffhanger, and it was a pretty good cliffhanger. Now, I want to go back to something I was talking about real quick. So the negative spirit was trying to have Larry sit down and watch these videos with the chief, and he kept wanting to ignore them because the chief was like, tell me about your relationship with John, your mechanic who he didn't, reveal to anyone else was his lover. And so the thing is, and then Chief says, he actually talks to the negative spirit and says, I worked on a device so you can communicate with me in words. And he asks, where are you from? What is your home planet? What is your name? What allows you to live inside of Larry's body? And he says, torture, which means the self-torture that Larry puts himself through, because he still is doing it. He doesn't want to acknowledge what his past was. He knew he loved John, but he felt ashamed because of his wife and children.
Right.
And he never wanted to tell anybody. And so he doesn't want to face that. He just wants to move forward. And I think the negative spirit, asshole and all, is trying to get him to say, hey, you have to acknowledge these parts of your life.
But you know what's interesting, though, is I think he's both attempting to communicate with him to let him know, but then also from that standpoint, remember, he kept pushing about John, about his lover, and that when the chief kept asking these questions, and the more upset he gets, the negative energy sparks up, and that's how he's able to then even further project himself out.
Yeah.
So far, Larry has not been able to willingly send out the spirit. It has to have some sort of high negative emotion. So even to the point where he's fighting some of the guards, he's like, all right, anytime you want to come out now, please, come on. It takes him freaking out, getting tackled to the ground, and feeling like he's about to get killed for the spirit to shoot out.
And whoop the fuck out of a whole hallway.
We don't even get to see it. We just see an explosion of letters just everywhere. And so I think that that's what they're trying to allude to, is that the spirit feeds off of Larry's negative emotion.
Yeah.
And that's how he's allowed to survive and to come out and to interact and whatnot. And he actually, the negative spirit is actually showing, again, kept making him sit down and watch this tape so that he could understand how he exists and whatnot. That's the only way he can communicate, because he can't talk. The chief did have a machine, but it blew up.
Right.
But that's the only way that he knows how to communicate with him, is through various clues, whether it's when he's trying to leave on the bus in episode 2, that no, you can't leave. You need to stay here. We have shit to do.
Right.
The fact that you're not just going to talk shit to me over and over and over again. He breaks the bus down. You know what I'm saying? The negative spirit.
He has that mod just jump out while he drives. but nonetheless, I get what you're saying. Go ahead.
No, that's all I was saying, is that the negative spirit feeds off of Larry's negative emotions. Mm-hmm. So as long as he tortures himself over this, that'll probably be the easiest way for the spirit to continue to survive and to thrive. But it'd be interesting if he finally comes to terms with himself, what will happen?
We got to see. So this was a completely different episode in tone, in a sense. And so on a scale of 1 to 5, you have to rate it. What would you give it?
I would say I would give it a 3, but I give it a 4.5 just because there is a very strong sentiment shared by, again, that Archon about what actually is reality. And then Rita's also big talk to Elliot about not just killing yourself, but about how you really have to push through and try and fight through stuff. We're here for a reason. So to try and do that kind of shit. So having both of those, having really strong thematic moments, was enough for me to bring the episode up, in my opinion, and give it a 4.5, because it made me stop and think. If a show is going to make me think, if a movie is going to make me think, then it's worth my time.
Well, for me, I give it a 4.5 naturally, because also everything you said, the theme, the way it did it, and this is pretty much a very comic book accurate episode from Doom Patrol number 31. So you can go check that out for sure. Read about the Cult of the Unwritten Book, the Our Lady of the Razors, even Willoughby Kipling, everything about it. This is pretty much comic book accurate. On 4.5, the show has completely grown on me.
Last thing before, because I know you're probably about to wrap it up. I just really hope very soon that we actually we got a little bit of character development from Rita by having this moment where she finally uses her powers to be a hero and has this talk with Elliot, but I still want to know more about her. I feel like that's the one character in this entire Doom Patrol that we have not explored really, and that's starting to bother me a little bit.
I hope we get a sex tape.
That would be dope. That actually, I fucks with that. I want a sex tape. That's the background.
I mean, because they said it in the first episode that there was a sex tape, so I want to see the Lola Falana.
Nigga, are you in episode 7 and you did this with Pornhub and you're the fucking cameraman fucking taping Rita having a sex tape and shit?
On the real. Come on, give it to her, Steve. Give it to her, Steve. All right, Rita, give me that moan. Give it.
Why is he talking to me? I am performing. Why is he talking?
Like, I am trying to concentrate on the orgasm. But before I go anywhere, before I close this out, I want to give a big shout out to Zone 10 Customs, man, for the certified supervillain shirt. Shouts out to Zone 10 Customs. Please go check them out at www.zone10customs.com. Tell them I sent you, man. They can do great work. He blessed me with some great shirts, and I love it and appreciate it. You can find Winston how and where?
At the Swaggy Blerd, TheSwaggyBlerd on all the socials. And big Schmodown match is coming up. Check that shit out. And got some shit coming out with Disney, but I can't tell y'all about that yet.
Didn't you already put it out there on Facebook? Yeah. Anyway, this idiot. You already know how you find me. Twitter, Instagram, at Mr. J Washington, MrJayWashington. I spelled it out for people this time, just in case you didn't know how to spell it. Make sure you join my supervillain squad on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. It's only $5. I got a bunch of content up there and more content about to go up, so I need you to be a part of that. Also, check out the Mad Titan podcast, man. Everywhere you get your podcast, listen on. I get you caught up on everything that's happening in the Marvel and DC live action cinematic universes. Cape Calamass, what I do is barbershop talk for nerds, so you want to be involved with that for sure. I will holler at you guys later. Till then.
Shit, I did.
Yeah.
Oh, well, damn.
I'm out of here. Peace.